Welcome to Content Hub. Today, we're re-exploring a powerful idea that has shaped society for centuries, the belief that women are naturally more empathetic than men. Is empathy truly written into our biology, or is it something we learn as we grow up? Let's find out. For generations, empathy has been labeled a feminine trait, while qualities like strength, dominance, and assertiveness have been linked to masculinity. These labels aren't just words. They influence how children are raised, how adults are treated in the workplace, and how leadership is defined, often without us even noticing. Historically, think about powerful women in leadership. They were often described as exceptions to their gender. Success in leadership was seen as masculine, while care and emotional understanding were seen as feminine. And although society has progressed, these assumptions still quietly shape how we judge behavior today. Empathy, in particular, sits right at the center of this stereotype. Women are often assumed to be natural empaths, while men who show deep empathy might be seen as weak or overly emotional. But modern science is challenging this whole idea and asking an important question. Are these differences biological, or are they social? First, let's break down what empathy really is. It's complex. There's cognitive empathy, which is about understanding another person's perspective, seeing things from their point of view. Then there's emotional empathy, which is about feeling what others are feeling. Research shows that while women, on average, may score slightly higher on empathy tests, the differences are incredibly small. What's far more significant is the huge variation within each gender, which is much greater than any gap between them. So where does this idea come from? Some scientists have pointed to hormones, like testosterone exposure before birth, as a possible explanation. However, many neuroscientists argue that this theory drastically oversimplifies human behavior. It risks reinforcing outdated, and frankly unhelpful, ideas about male and female brains being fundamentally different. When we look at the bigger picture, the social argument gets much stronger. Large international studies have revealed that empathy levels vary greatly across different cultures. In many countries, men and women score almost exactly the same. Genetic research also supports this. While empathy is partly influenced by our genes, those genes are not linked to our biological sex. In fact, genetics only explains a small fraction of why people differ in empathy. This strongly suggests that socialization, how we are raised, plays a major role. From a very early age, think about the messages kids receive. Girls are often encouraged to be caring, to be emotionally aware, and to be nurturing. Boys, on the other hand, are frequently taught to be tough, independent, and to keep their emotions in check. Over time, these expectations don't just shape behavior. They start to feel natural. There's another fascinating factor at play: power. Research consistently shows that people with less social or economic power are often better at reading emotions. Historically, women have held less power in many societies. This suggests that emotional awareness might not have been an innate trait, but a necessary skill developed for navigating social situations and anticipating the needs of those in charge. And here's the most empowering part: empathy is not fixed. It's a skill, not a permanent trait. Brain studies show that when viewing others in pain, men's and women's brains respond in remarkably similar ways. The differences often only appear when people are asked to self-rate their own empathy. Even those gaps can disappear when the motivation changes. In one powerful experiment, men were told that empathy is a masculine strength, a sign of competence. What happened? Their empathy scores immediately rose to match women's. In another study, when participants were rewarded for accurately reading emotions, both men and women improved their skills equally. This proves that empathy can be learned, encouraged, and strengthened in anyone, regardless of gender. It's also important to remember that empathy isn't always gentle or harmless. It can be used strategically in negotiation, persuasion, or even manipulation. Understanding emotions gives you a form of power, not just a capacity for compassion. The consequences of these empathy stereotypes are serious and affect everyone. Women are often overlooked for leadership roles because they're perceived as too soft, while men are less likely to seek emotional support. This contributes to higher levels of loneliness and, tragically, higher rates of suicide among men. The expectation to be emotionally tough can be a heavy burden. Fortunately, these rigid ideas are beginning to change. We're seeing more men embracing caring roles, both as fathers and in their communities, and becoming more comfortable with emotional openness. Redefining masculinity to include empathy and connection isn't about making men weaker. It's about making them, and our society, healthier and more balanced. Ultimately, empathy is not something we are born with or without. It is something we learn, we practice, and we choose to value. And when everyone is given the space and encouragement to develop it, society as a whole becomes stronger, more connected, and more resilient. Thanks for watching. If you found this topic interesting, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell for more deep dives into the ideas that shape our world. See you next time.